What is going on, everybody? We're back once again with another edition of Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. It is Saturday, May 11th. What a SmackDown last night. It was crazy. We are going to get right into it in a minute here, but first I'm going to introduce the sweet panel I'm riding with, and I'm stoked. I've got a wicked crew today. Happy Saturday, everybody. First, I'm going to send this one out to Regina, Canada. North of the border, my friends, to our head of reviewing, Coby Galenzoski. What's going on, buddy?
Doing pretty good. Of course, we had a week of King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring action, and I've been thoroughly entertained. I'm interested to talk about the direction for Mr. Cody Rhodes, and obviously I'm here to enjoy it, obviously with the sweet crew, like you said, and I'll let you introduce the rest.
Absolutely stoked to have you, Coby. And speaking of north of borders, north of a different border out in Texas, a good friend of mine, Ignacio. What's going on, dude? How you been?
Doing pretty good, feeling pretty good. Very excited to talk about this last night's episode of SmackDown, man. It was action-packed. I was very entertained and ready to talk something about the King of the Ring matches.
Absolutely. Let's get after it. And he's got to be north of some border, but across the pond at the very least, a return and a congratulatory return as far as on the show with me, because I haven't seen him all week, and it's good to have him back. Jordy, what's going on, my friend?
It's good to be back, man. Like you said, I'm back. We're back over the pond. I've been on your side of the pond for the past 2 weeks on my honeymoon in Florida, and it's not good to be back. I'm lying. I'd rather be back there because wrestling was on at a normal time. Like I was out in a theme park putting money into Mickey Mouse's pocket, and then I'd come home at 8 p.m. and I'd be able to watch SmackDown and go to bed instead of having to get up and watch SmackDown like I've done last night. But here I am, and holiday blues, honeymoon blues. But I'm with you guys, and I can talk wrestling again because for the past 2 weeks, the only wrestling interaction that I've had, like I said to you guys, was people shouting "yeet" at me when I was wearing my Jey Uso shirt, which I appreciated. But now let's get into the detail with you guys and talk about a great episode of SmackDown.
Absolutely. I'm stoked about it. And that it was hilarious when you were telling us that about the people just yeeting you out at Disney. Yeah. Like, that's outstanding. Who saw that coming, by the way? It's over. It's over. David Modge, even in the comments here with the yeet, 100%. But let's get into last night's SmackDown. Let's get into some funk, because I thought out of left field, Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul would be the craziest Paul brother matchup I heard all year. And then they outdid me. Logan Paul and Cody Rhodes, title versus title potentially here. What in the world, what in the wide world of sports are we doing here? But I dig it in the weirdest way possible. It totally makes sense. I'm for it. It's going to be fun. Coby, I'm going to toss it straight to you. Dude, Logan and Cody, what in the world are we looking at here?
See, this is the thing: is we are 3 weeks away from the next pay-per-view, and or PLE, and of course we are going to have another short rivalry. We need some to make something to set up Cody Rhodes wrestling at this pay-per-view, or this PLE, and this is what we get. I like the fact that it was Nick Aldis announcing it. It wasn't just like him coming out to challenge. It kind of felt like Nick Aldis was doing his best and making a big money match, because that's exactly what this is. This is two champions, and we don't know what's happening. We have Cody Rhodes hinting at him becoming Cody 2 belts with, I don't want it all. I don't need Cody Rhodes with 2 titles at this point, let alone 1. But right now, we're in a weird position because they're advertising it as just a champion versus champion match. So there's no titles on the line. Then you have Cody Rhodes hinting at it. There's a lot of discrepancies where it's like, I don't know where we're going and I don't know what to expect. I did really like the promo. I do have to put that over, because there's room for a one-liner about this match having already more build than AJ Styles versus Cody Rhodes, because there almost is. Right. That promo was really good. We had Logan Paul being a heel. I mean, he said happy birthday to the one kid in the crowd, and I mean, Cody Rhodes gave him his respect, but also said, "This is what you are. You're a liar." Or I don't want to say liar, but like he listed off traits of Logan Paul that are true, and it clearly created that divide. But I don't know where this is going. I don't see Cody Rhodes losing this match. You have to sell me on a lot of these things, and the big question I need to be answered is, why should I care? And other than it being a Cody Rhodes match and Cody Rhodes versus Logan Paul, expecting it to be a really good match, that's the only juice I have in this right now.
Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, Cody Two Belts is an interesting prospect, right? Like, that is not the most babyface oriented move I've ever heard of. Jordy, what do you think about this? Is there some way they sort of separate this in the way that we saw, like maybe Cena Rollins back in the day, where you had both titles? You know, I don't know. Is there a way that they get around the fact that it potentially looks like landing on Cody with two titles? And pre-show we were talking about it. I'm not going to say Cody crybabies, except that I just did. But as a Cody fan, what do you feel about this?
I agree. It's a strange direction, because I think the fact that Cody needs that belt to become a Grand Slam champion, like he said, I think if it was me, I would save that for a time when Cody doesn't have this belt, because that's you can build that storyline around anyone, whoever's holding it at the time. And you've got yourself a good kind of feud and base for a good storyline. So bringing it in at this point does feel odd to me. I don't know. There's a couple of directions I can see it going. It could end in a disqualification. We've seen it happen before. Ending a main event for two belts in a disqualification is a bit of a crazy move, admittedly, but I wouldn't put it past them in this situation. So they both end up with the belts, and I don't really know how the disqualification could go. Maybe Logan gets caught with a nux, or maybe Logan is going to get injured by the bloodline or something prior to this match happening. Because Logan has been on TV for quite a while now, continuous weeks on SmackDown and stuff, appearing at PLEs. He's had a fair reign with a belt. If you put it on anyone else, people would be like, "Oh, he's performed, blah blah blah." But with it being Logan, I'm not sure he will. And I think Logan's missus is pregnant. I think Nina's pregnant, so he will be having some time off soon. I don't know when that'll come, but maybe that he gets injured by the bloodline and one of them takes his place. But it's a strange one. It's a very strange one. I don't know the direction. I don't think Cody having two belts is a great look for the massive face of the company. I think if people are turning on Cody, they're going to do it then 100%. So yeah, it's a strange direction, but I'm excited for it, because I think it will definitely be a good match.
Absolutely. I think it'll be a good match too. I think the caveat to your point, you made a great point there about why does it have to be two titles? If we could have got the title off of Logan in a timely manner somehow, it's perfect. Because I love the idea of the rivalry. The two belts just muddies the waters in a way that's really frustrating. David Modge added over in the comments, big storylines are a must after how big WrestleMania was, and they are doing okay so far. The Cody AJ match was good in France. I bet Logan and Cody could have a good match too, but I would want Logan to win. That's interesting. As much as I've made fun of tie clips on this very show, even I wouldn't sink to that level, David, but you are a good friend of the show, and thank you for being here in the comments. I got to say also, you had another suggestion, Jordy, about a potential disqualification. How about Jake Paul knocks Cody out with the Nux? Why not?
I think I don't think you could get away with that many places, but in Saudi Arabia, and I think they're always so happy to have WWE there, and it's such a happy crowd, and they just kind of cheer a lot of things, and maybe you can get away with it there. Like if you took that to Chicago, for example, and you tried to pull that finish, I don't think you're going to get that crowd. They aren't going to be happy, and it's going to end badly. Maybe you might be able to get away with it in Saudi Arabia, but I don't know. I really don't know.
Totally. We got another comment over here on Instagram that I really love from Comic Dad 65, and thank you so much for just the Wyatt family. Have them interfere. Few different options there. That is a good one. I hadn't thought of that. Ignacio, I obviously got to ask you. You and I are kind of aged out of Logan Paul, but either way, I still think he's been electric when it comes to his WWE work so far. Like, he is kind of a natural. I hate to acquiesce and admit that, but it's been good work. What are your thoughts on the idea of this rivalry, and how do you go about it with both belts potentially here on the line?
I think it's fantastic. This is a fantastic matchup. It's perfect for both in their current situations, in Cody's situation right now and Logan Paul's, because they both really don't have established challengers for them right now. So I think it was a good move for WWE, because to me, and a lot of people, well, first of all, they haven't really announced that it's going to be title for title yet. But there's a lot of people in the uproar online saying that, well, there's no buildup. Well, they just put them together. The pay-per-view's 3 weeks away or whatever.
Yeah.
Just wait for the build.
The build just happened.
Yeah,
it just started.
Yeah, just hold on. It's not a big. You're not going to get the build that was the Bloodline and Cody. All right, but it's a great matchup. They both cut great promos, and it's like back in the old days, for the people who were saying this doesn't make sense. Back in the olden days, the U.S. champion was technically, and they used to say that the U.S. champion was the number one contender for the heavyweight title.
That is true. I didn't even think about that.
So,
That's a great point.
So in a way that Logan Paul he's been on a hot streak. He's been hot since he's won the U.S. title. Even before that, he's a great performer in the ring. I think he's probably the best in current history or modern era or whatever, from make a transition to something else, from podcasting or from boxing or whatever you want to categorize him as, from celebrity to wrestling. He's the best in the modern era to do that. He's a great athlete. They both cut great promos, right? And it's just the perfect situation for both of them. Now, as far as doing a DQ, I think it's going to be a clean finish for Cody, because Cody needs to have good matches. Number one, he needs wins, clean wins. Number two, and I think that's what's going to happen, because it was a phenomenal, pun intended, match with AJ Styles. That was a great match. I love that match, and it's going to be another great match with Logan Paul, because they're both great athletes. They're both great promos, and I think it's going to be a clean win for Cody. And working on maybe this King of the Ring tournament, which we're going to talk about the matches later on, is going to be somebody to build up for Cody Rhodes' next opponent potentially. But I don't think it's going to be like a 2-3 pay-per-view, story. I think it's just going to be a good month or 3-week build-up, great promos along the way, and it's going to be a great match. And that's what both of these individuals need right now. They need to have a great match. Cody needs clean wins, decisive clean wins. That way to build his streak up a little bit more.
Absolutely. Yeah, I like that a lot. And I agree. And I was blown away by your point about the U.S. title. I completely forgot about that and knew it myself. That is a great point. And for historical context, I really hope Logan uses that.
And I forgot one more point real quick. So people were saying, what's going to bury Logan Paul? How's it going to bury Logan Paul? He's the U.S. champion, Cody's. You lost to the world champion. That's not going to bury Logan Paul at all.
It's a great point.
I think it's the one of a champion just taking a loss.
I think Ignacio is correct, though.
The word buried is so overused anyway.
But it's a little like the boxer or the MMA fighter that goes up a weight class, takes a loss, right? Islam Makhachev versus Volkanovski would be the perfect example in the UFC, Coby, right? Like, yes, I understand the second fight was different, but the first fight goes up in weight. Volk does, takes him to the brink. Yes, he lost. Volk was at the height of his popularity after that loss, right? It was valiant. And that, so I do think that sort of narrative applies not just in pro wrestling, but like in sports too. Yeah. Right. Sometimes you look better in a loss than you do in a win. And that possibility totally exists. But with that, let's talk about the Queen of the Ring matches from SmackDown, the KOTRMs, I guess. Now that we're real acronym heavy during this King of the Ring, Queen of the Ring tournament scenario, it's been cracking me up. But we had some awesome matchups last night. We had Jade Cargill and Piper Niven. We had Bianca Belair, Candice LeRae. That was good. Candice LeRae and Naomi versus Nia Jax. Nia Jax gets the win in that one. Bianca Belair gets the win in hers. Jade Cargill gets the win in hers. This bracket is super exciting. Jordy, I'm going straight to you, dude. How did you like the 3 matches last night? How good is it to see quality wrestling on WWE TV in a tournament context, in a tournament setting, on top of who's your pick to win it all? Come on, everyone wants to know who's the pick to win it all.
It's interesting. It was the trees are very unpredictable for me. Firstly, I thought all 3 matches were great. I thought they all had different elements to them, which were great. Nia and Naomi's match was at points I found the most unpredictable, because I always kind of thought that Nia was going to win, but then with Naomi obviously just coming off that world title match, I did think it was a possibility that they want to keep her kind of momentum going, so have her win that and be in the running for this tournament. But I thought that Hurricane Rana off the turnbuckle was brilliant. That was probably the show-stopping moment of the match, and yeah, Nia won. She went through. She is probably one of my definitely top picks for the tournament. But I do wonder, now looking at these 2 matches, I thought Chelsea was hilarious in Piper's match. That added just a fun element to the match as well, alongside a very good in-ring performance from both contenders. It's great to see Jade winning. I liked the way they fed it in as well from a production perspective, when they just kind of hit Bianca's music as Jade was walking out, and then obviously they kind of did a little dance together and went straight into Bianca's match, which probably to me was the most predictable of the 3, but again, a good performance by all. Seeing Indy Hartwell kind of turn into that heel side with Candice, I'm excited for what they could possibly do down the line. And yeah, it's in a good place. It's in a very good place to be seeing this kind of level of performance within these matches. I'm kind of want to see Jade and Bianca come against each other, but I don't know if now is the right time for that.
Yeah.
I definitely want to see it down the line. And the ring, if you look at the tree, I'm pretty sure it would line up that they would have to go against each other to go through to the next round. But that would mean knocking Nia Jax out, which then I'm like, I don't know if that is really going to happen. So it's hard to call. It is hard to call. I would probably go with Nia because, yeah, I don't think that the potential of Jade and Bianca as tag champions has been reached yet. I think they can go a little bit further before they have that match against each other. But yeah, it was great, man. I enjoyed it. It's the first bit of real wrestling I've watched in a while because, well, I was on my honeymoon. Like I say, I caught little bits of it when I was in and out from the parks, but I never really got to sit down and watch a whole episode and look at it, look at notes. And it was just a great performance by everyone involved, not just the people in the ring. Like I say, Indy and Chelsea also played a part when being on the sidelines at the side of the ring. So it was great stuff. Great stuff.
No question. I'm totally with you. I mean, whoops. Sorry about that. The hardest part for me is, like, I agree with you on that tag storyline has not been vetted yet. It's not been played out. It's not, it's
just started.
It's not something that we've seen play out yet. And the worst part about it is you don't want to see them as partners do like a handshake match. It's not like I'm wearing an FTR shirt. It's not like FTR and the Owen Cup, where like that was like just a fun in the ring thing. Like, this needs to be a real rivalry when they turn on each other.
If anything, you need to see that, like you saw Rocky and Apollo at the end of Rocky 3. After a rivalry, you want to see them once they've maybe just put things aside, and then they have a match and shake hands about it.
Right.
Maybe now's not the right time, but I definitely want to see it. And I think a tag team that strong, they have to implode. I think I don't know who's going to beat them unless they turn on each other, like, realistically. So I think that's an interesting point as well.
So true.
I do got a quick question for Jordy. So with the whole working of the knee that we saw from Bianca Belair, do we see that coming into play? Because we know who's next for Bianca Belair. because
Very
Mi
good
Chin's not going to beat Tiffany.
Very
Stratton.
good point. Very good
Tiffany
point.
Stratton
Yeah.
versus Bianca Belair is the next match.
Yeah,
Does
very good
Tiffany
point.
get that win?
I think that's a distinct possibility. The other thing that I thought of last night that kind of threw me for a loop is if Nia wins Queen of the Ring, does she not become the first female member of the Bloodline? Because she
Well, she
is
was wearing
in the
black and red
Bloodline.
last night. She was wearing black
Right.
and red last night.
And
I
that I
noticed
noticed
that.
as well, Jordy. Like and
But they were
you're
technically both in the Bloodline, them two competitors. Because it was
exactly.
Naomi, wasn't it?
Because
So
Naomi
it was,
too. No, that's the most interesting part of that too. And I was thinking either one, but when I saw the red and black, to your point, like you just said, dude, I mean that we haven't seen it yet. Why not? And Nia Jax being enforcer-esque alongside now Tonga
Tribal
Loa,
Queen.
Tama Tonga, all of that, the tribal queen. That's pretty cool. Makes a lot of sense. That might be the direction I think we're going. I don't know for sure, but hey, I'm here for it either way. I have been more excited about this Queen of the Ring, King of the Ring, despite my acronym joke earlier, than I have been in a long, long time. This tournament has been really well executed, and it doesn't feel like there's any for sure for the champion. There feels like for sure is like you mentioned on Tiffany Stratton winning her match to move on in the tournament, but it doesn't feel like there's a definitive that's who it is. Basically in either bracket. But before we move on to the men's side of the bracket, let's talk about our partners over at Next Level. It's awesome. Sweet giveaway. Go to nxconnect.me/Wrestling Republic. All of our content across all platforms, one place, real easy to find, all the good stuff. You're going to love it. Also, contests. It's absolutely free. No gimmicks. Still time to enter. $100 to WWE shop. You need that Yeet shirt. You need that no Yeet shirt. That's free plus another gift for your friend. And you're good to go. And you totally can win. No gimmicks. Absolutely free. Next Level. It's awesome. Once again, the connect code is go to nxconnect.me/Wrestling Republic. You're going to love it. Thank you so much. But with that, let's move on to the King of the Ring matches. Ooh. Were these wild? We had Orton and Styles. We had Dawkins and Tama Tonga. Two of them. Two big matches. Ignacio, I'm going to present basically the exact.
Corbin.
Oh, and the Corbin match. I apologize, by the way. Bad notes on me. And the Corbin match, too. Ignacio, I'm going to ask you your pick on the men's side, as well as your thoughts on the matches from last night. I think this side of the bracket is almost as good as the women's, but I do, in a weird way, think the women's bracket's kind of stealing the show right now.
Well, I wasn't too, the only match I really liked on the women's side was the Naomi and Nia Jax match. I think they did really. Though it's a good match. We had really good matches last night on SmackDown. I like the fact that they're actually taking this tournament seriously because they got main event and upper mid card talent on there, not just preliminary and mid carders. I mean, you got Orton, you got Styles, you got Jey Uso, you got Finn Balor, you got a lot of great talent in these tournament brackets, and we saw it last night. Great matches. I'll give my pick at the end, but the match last night, bro, Carmelo and Baron Corbin, it was a great match. Corbin looked great coming off of NXT, but man, I really don't think there was a reason for him to lose that match because it seemed like midway through the match, it seemed like he had the crowd. Like it seemed like they were kind of getting behind him. And then, I don't think Carmelo Hayes would have been hurt if he would have lost this match. He's just coming up from NXT. I think they've fumbled with Baron Corbin a couple of times already in the past. And I think, because Carmelo Hayes, he's going up against Randy Orton, I think, next in the brackets, and he's not going to beat Orton. You know what I mean? Unless, there's some shenanigans involved, which I hope we don't see. But, I mean, Corbin had a good match against him. Corbin could have come out with the win, pick up some fanfare, build a story with him. You know what I mean? Have him have a great match with Orton to show everybody that coming off of NXT, he's improved, which he has, and that he can keep up with the upper card and main event talent and build him up for a potential opponent, legitimate opponent for Logan Paul or 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 Cody or whoever, because I think he deserves more than that because he's done great work. But I really like that match. I just think that I think Corbin should have come out the winner here because I don't think it would have hurt Carmelo, and I don't think I think Carmelo could have recuperated from it. I don't think he needed to win that match. I think Corbin needed it more. The Tama Tonga match was great. I really like that one. He's very aggressive. I haven't seen him. I saw him a bit in Japan, but I stopped watching New Japan. I haven't really watched it for the past couple of years. Just Wrestle Kingdom. That's about it. But I know he's really good, and I like the match a lot. He did really good. Dawkins is a great performer, and that's kind of like I'll branch off what I mentioned yesterday in the draft. I think the tag teams, they need to be able to separate them during the draft because I think Ford can go on his own already, and I think Dawkins can hold his own on his own. I think they're ready. Like they're ready now, and there's no reason why they should be giving them singles runs already. But that was a tremendous match. And my favorite out of the three, of course, is Orton and AJ Styles. Man, great storytelling. These two know each other so well. Man, Orton just has the crowd. I've never seen anybody in recent history have the crowd so much in the palm of their hands, just like Randy Orton has. He reminds me of a lot of like the way Jake Roberts had the crowd. It's just he's so good, and I just like the fact that they have these main event talent in the tournament because it's making it a big deal, to have these guys in the tournament. Because last time they had it, it was mid card guys, and we did like what's his name won it, the New Day, Selena Vega won it, Queen of the Ring, and then not Kofi,
Xavier Woods
won it, and it was just because they're both into the whole cosplay deal or whatever, and they didn't take it seriously or they didn't push it, and because it wasn't meant to be serious. But now we got big timers in there, and I think it's hard for me to pick a winner of the tournament because where are they going to go with this King of the Ring gimmick? Because people say it nowadays, it's kind of dated, the King of the Ring gimmick, because we've had some great kings. We've had the Macho King.
Yeah.
We've had King Booker.
King Booker.
We've had my favorite king. We've had Jerry Lawler. Yes. So if we're going to go with the whole king gimmick, well, I mean, it's hard to say because I can't imagine Gunther wearing like the whole garb or whatever, right? So it's just going to be where do they want to take the gimmick? Do they want to take it seriously and have like Gunther win it? The Gunther's going to be like the king of the mat. You know what I mean? He's not going to walk around with like a Koki crown or whatever. Are they going to use it as a platform to push somebody? You know what I mean? To somebody that came up from NXT, they're going to use it to get somebody ready for Cody Rhodes or for Damian Priest. So it's just it's hard to say where they actually want to go with it. Is Jey Uso going to be win it, and then they give him a push? But I'd be really disappointed if they went the comedy route.
Same.
Which, looking at the brackets, I really can't see anybody going that route. Really, not in the men's side. The women's, I think it has Tiffany Stratton really all over her because I think she can. If anybody can take this gimmick to the next level, it's her. Because imagine her pulling up like in pink limousines and shit. Like, you know what I mean? And she would like embrace it like nobody could.
Totally.
So I think it makes sense for me. But on the men's side, I mean, I can imagine Gunther winning it. I think right now he's my pick because he's going to be like not the hokey king. He's going to be like, I'm the king of the wrestling ring. I am the best wrestler. I am the king.
We're not going to get a crown and a scepter when it comes to Gunther. To your point, right? Like that's
like that anyway, doesn't he? The way
it kind of already does. Yeah,
basically is the king of the ring. It's just a different word for it, isn't it? I agree. I think that's the way to go.
And then you add in like I love the Tiffany idea or the Nia Jax. I think you made a great point about it feeling dated. Elmer Thomas commented earlier, it ain't dead. It just evolved or evolves. I'm not sure what he meant exactly there, but it needs to evolve.
It needs to evolve.
Right. And I think part of it is it has usually led to a gimmick. We got King Corbin. We got King Woods temporarily. Like, we don't need that anymore. That's the comedy route that Ignacio was talking about, right? At this point, we need a serious King of the Ring in some way and explain it, and Queen of the Ring for that matter. And that's why Stratton, it fits her character. That'd be great. Leaning into it, that'd be a little comedic. That'd be the one place I'd give a pass. But Nia Jax taking the crown and then applying it to the bloodline, a little more serious. I like that for context, right? And then on the men's side, like you mentioned, Gunther, I think you have to go Gunther, king of the mat. I'm not the king. I hope he breaks the scepter and the crown right away. It's like, I don't need this. Yeah. This is just another resume builder. Almost.
Yeah, because he can be, and then he can be like,
hands it to Ludwig, put this in the trash.
Yeah, he can be like, I'm the king of the ring, I'm the king of the mat. You know, I can take all these UFC guys and stretch them or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
send that thing back home. Could even fall into it and tell him to put it in storage, right? Yeah. Like something like almost like just look at it like in disgust, like the king of what? I'm the ring general, right? Like the king of
what is this? This is a crown. This is a prop. That doesn't represent my dominance.
Exactly. Like there's a way also he can do it without even burying the whole concept. He can do it about like the prestige of winning the tournament, but while tongue-in-cheek jabbing the gimmick of the tournament. And I think that would be an excellent way to go about it. Let's move on though to our next topic real quick. Sure. Let's talk about Blair Davenport in that video package. Coby, I'm going to toss it straight to you because we were a little behind on time. Dude, big deal here on SmackDown. Video package for Blair?
I mean, that's the smart move, is we're looking at someone who doesn't necessarily have a resume to speak for herself from NXT. Won no titles. She had a number of title matches, i.e. Meiko Satomura, Mandy Rose triple threat match with Blair. She had multiple matches with Meiko in the UK. She had a match with Lyra Valkyria at the beginning of this year. The only accolade is the Deadline winner, or not the Deadline, the Iron Survivor winner from last year's Deadline. And the thing is this video package shows her in a different light, in a dominant light, and that's what she needs, especially when she doesn't have the wins. I think it's smart, for though they were kind of potentially going in the direction of Blair Davenport in the Queen of the Ring from the before bracket that was released. I think it was supposed to be her and Tiffany Stratton, which, I mean, it's still another match Tiffany Stratton was going to win. But I think it's smart to pull her out of it so you don't start her SmackDown career off on a loss like that. I think the video package was well done. It proved that she's going to come into SmackDown as a heel, and that's probably where her best work is at this point. I've never really seen her work well as a face. She's always been a heel in her career, and that's her strong suit at this point. I'm excited. I don't know if she's going to be well. I saw a comparison. It's like, remember we all thought they did the 2016 draft and Alexa Bliss was almost a big pick. Yeah. And no one saw the career she had coming, and she was able to break out and able to deliver in a great way. I wonder if that's what what's going to happen with Blair Davenport. She never really had success in NXT, but now she's on the main roster and she can work. I hope that's where it goes. I think she is a really good talent and she can deliver with certain people. And I'm excited to see what she brings.
Totally. I think you broke that down perfect too. And I think Blair deserves a shot. And it's one of those talents, Blair specifically, that I do feel like can have more success on the main roster than she did on NXT. Right? Like that adds up.
Yeah.
And not only that, to have a vignette, basically, if we'd like to call it that, right? Vignette. Not just a video package. We need more vignettes. Elmer Thomas, also new friend of the show. Thank you so much for tuning in, my friend. Davenport is going to be a star. She can really deliver in any match type. I like that. She does go bell to bell as well as a lot of wrestlers. But let's move into our final segment here of the afternoon out here in California. But let's talk about the interim tribal chief. What in the world? I did not think pre-TKO sale I would hear many interim references over on the WWE side, but Solo Sikoa is essentially he's the interim tribal chief. He told Paulie what the deal was. Demands the hug. Gotta love that. Cracked up at that. Give me a hug, right? And shoots the look over at the Gorillas of Destiny. Like, I mean, come on, man. That was absolute gold. I loved it for just such a small segment to tell such a broad story, essentially, during that. Heyman backing himself up as the tribal chief's wise man. Sikoa saying, you haven't talked to him since Mania. I have. You answer to me now. Super interesting. The subtle Jey Uso signal hint threw me for a loop and a half. I loved it, but I didn't think it would be this early. One of my favorite segments of the night last night, and I thought last night's SmackDown was absolutely sublime. Sublime. Especially compared to the recent run. We've got direction now, and it feels good to have direction. Jordy, I'm going to ask you, dude. So Solo's in charge for the time being. Is he just a babysitter as the interim tribal chief? Or is this something that is going to build to something larger?
I completely agree with you, mate. He kept saying things that were shocking me. Like when he said that he spoke to Roman, like I've honestly been convinced that The Rock's been behind this. And I'm pretty sure he said last night, like, I'm pretty sure he mentioned Roman by name rather than just saying the tribal chief. And then he said, obviously, by orders of the tribal chief. But Paul's reactions to all of this are probably one of the most important things. The way that he genuinely is playing scared, he doesn't like the unpredictability of it. And they've got a team to be feared. It's strange hearing Solo talk so much, and I'm enjoying it. To be honest, it's great to see these guys going in a different direction. Yes, I think probably way down the line, you're probably going to see the original bloodline unite up and go against them. But for now, when he mentioned the signal to Jey, when he obviously hugged Paul at the end and then turned and looked at the other two, it's just, I don't really know where they're going with it. I honestly don't, but it's great. I'm enjoying it. I wish they'd get Solo a better fitting suit though. That's my only gripe with it.
How about just a tailor?
Yeah, just exactly. Just tailor that suit up because
People
he's
do
good
it
on
for
the
a job.
It kind of looks like he's wearing his dad's suit a little bit, and it kind of throws me off. But aside from
it
that,
does. It looks like a hand-me-down.
Yeah, and I'm just it's just a little bit odd. It was strange enough just to see him wearing shoes at first, and now he's wearing this kind of baggy suit. So like, it's strange, but I'm excited for Solo because I do rate him in the ring. I always really have done. He was living in Roman's shadow completely understandably, the same way Roman was a little bit when The Rock came back for a couple of weeks. So you completely get it. It happens, but to see him standing on his own 2 feet now, taking the lead on this storyline, and I'm still just as excited about this as I am excited about the world title picture, any title picture. So they're doing something right, man, in my personal opinion.
100%. Dude, yeah, like I think we're really on the same page on this one. Like, it's cool, it's unique. I mean, think about how little time it took for them to make us so intrigued that this is the last segment of the show. That blows me away when stuff like that happens. And Paul Heyman has his fingerprints all over it. Half the time it does. He does deserve his flowers. We don't give them often enough to people while they're in their prime. And Paul Heyman is in the middle of his. Like, dude, the guy doesn't miss. He really doesn't right now. It's funny. We got a great comment over here on Instagram from Johnny Calderon 2153. He said, hey, what are you? Just a group of guys talking about wrestling right now. That's what we are over at Wrestling Republic. Thanks so much for joining the show, though. We've also got a great comment here from Elmer Thomas, new friend of the show. Thank you guys for you're going to be hearing a lot from me. I love y'all's energy. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much, man.
Wow.
That means a ton to us. Absolutely, always. Ignacio, though, I'm going to you next. So Solo, same almost the same question, but like, so Solo's the tribal chief now. Where are we exactly going with this? Obviously, there's whispers about the potential of Jacob Fatu. There's whispers about other stuff. Where do you think the direction is for the bloodline next?
I think it's just something to set up, and well, I think it's something to kind of bring Rock and Roman together, not together, but against each other. And they're doing very good. It's still the most interesting thing on WWE TV. Well, probably the most interesting thing in wrestling now is the bloodline storyline, and Roman's nowhere to be seen. Neither is The Rock. So that, what does that tell you about the talent that's involved? That Solo's stepping up to the plate and proving that he can be a character, you know. And then once again, like Paul Heyman's like the MVP of all this, because
unbelievable.
Everything like when Solo gives Dawkins and like the Samoan Spike, it's and Ford, it's like you look at Paul Heyman and go back and look at him if you like, it's like somebody's getting like beheaded right in front of him, right? Like he's like the facial expressions and the acting's like off the charts. He's great. Yeah, I think it's an avenue just to eventually we're gonna see like Rock and Roman, you know, Rock's version of the bloodline against Roman's version of the bloodline, whatever that's gonna look like. I don't really want to see Jey Uso involved in this anymore. I think he's gotten pretty over on his own. I'd like him to kind of stay away from it and you know, start building his own empire, I guess you can say, not in a factions kind of sense, but in a solo career kind of sense. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, you know, start building his own way. But I mean, yeah, I think that's what this is, and they're doing great so far. I'd like to see one of the women like Nia Jax get involved, like you said, because I think she can be a great heater because she's big enough where she can throw around the men a little bit too. And about the Jacob Fatu thing, one thing that I saw online is like the Jacob Fatu, like they're kind of afraid of that he might overshadow Solo a little bit. I don't think that many people really know about Jacob Fatu. I think they're giving him maybe just a little bit too much credit. But I think even if he did outshine Solo, it's kind of like, well, so what?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, you know, you signed him. This is
he more talented? Like, yeah, right? Like,
well, I mean,
you shouldn't be punished for being good.
This is what you signed him for. So it's just like, I didn't understand, but I think it's great work so far by everybody involved.
I think both Ignacio, you and Jordy, you sum that up perfect there. You should never be punished for being good.
Yeah.
Never. It's just not right? Like, Ignacio, to your point, right? Why would you punish somebody that's immensely talented for being what? He's too good to be in the group now suddenly? Come on. Yeah. Come on. No, absolutely not. But before we finish, I've obviously got to head it over to back north of the border. Our good buddy from Regina, Canada, our head of reviewing, Coby. Dude, did you... This is interesting because I was on the review team and I've wanted to ask you this question basically all day, so I might as well do it on air. Did you actually review the segment? Was it long enough do we know? I'm not sure you were on SmackDown last night or who of the team was on that review, but was that segment even long enough to be reviewed given how impactful it was? And then also your thoughts on the same line of talking that we've had going here so far. What do you think about the future of the bloodline here? Are we potentially going to see Tonga versus Samoa?
So quick about the review system. We do prioritize promos that are in the ring. So as much as if I wasn't the one rating it, but if I would have made note of it, I would have mentioned it. I would have said this was great. But we don't rate backstage segments because it's hard to take account in some of the things, and we don't have a system. We don't have a scale for everything at this point. But the thing is like you said, the emotions, the fact that we are talking about one line is so magical. Is the fact that, like Ignacio said, this is still the most interesting part of the product, and that is telling. I love it. The thing is Solo Sikoa mentioned how Paul Heyman lied about the draft.
Yep.
How he lied about Roman Reigns pulling himself out of the draft. Does that mean Sikoa lied as well? We don't know.
Bed of
could be
lies?
that's one of the directions they could go is no, you didn't. But Sikoa's the one saying, yeah, now I did. Now I'm the interim tribal chief.
We
Now
might have
I
a
make the
bouquet of
calls.
lies, Coby. You're so right.
So that is a direction nobody thought of. Is that a direction that could be possible? The thing that surprises me is I don't know what the direction is. I don't know if they're gonna do it. I thought because we need to not give the gimmick, but we need to give Sikoa wins here. Yes, they're a dominant force right now, but he needs a win. And we're at the position where we know the size of the PLE cards are what they are. They're not long. They're normally 6 max, 7 if it's WrestleMania, which is a great number. Jey Uso needs to be in Saudi Arabia. Do we get a King of the Ring finals of Jey Uso versus Solo Sikoa? Because Tama Tonga is written out.
I didn't really think about that.
There's many ways we can go about
Coby,
this is where it's interesting. I think that's where I wanted to go. I thought of it. I was like, oh, that's great. But then Tama Tonga was put in the thing, which is interesting. But they can make that happen.
Dude, I didn't even think of that. I like it. I love it. That does bring us to the end of the show. Before I read this comment really quickly, Elmer Thomas, thank you again. As always, Jacob Fatu is coming back with Roman and the Usos versus the new bloodline with The Rock. Ooh, split it down the middle. I don't know if we can split it perfectly. Tonga versus Samoa, as I suggested earlier. But boy, would that be electric. I mean, think about it. It's kind of wild. There's something different over there in the water when it comes to the Polynesians. Unbelievable stuff and just absolutely intriguing every single time out, on top of Paul Heyman's influence. But that does bring us to the end of the show here on a Saturday. Have an excellent Saturday. Go watch New Japan. Enjoy it. It will be a blast. We enjoyed breaking down SmackDown. If you haven't already liked and subscribed, it means the world to us, and we're about to hit 1,000. You may be the 1,000th. I'll send you a personal thank you text if you are the 1,000th and you reach out to me via DM at Real Clark Taylor on Instagram. Absolutely. I will personally congratulate you. I'll send you a video, no question. I really appreciate it, though. On behalf of me, Clark Taylor, Coby Galenzoski, Ignacio Panelists, and then Jordy Hillman, right?
Yeah, man.
Last name, right? I knew all the last names. I actually kind of panicked there for a second. Thank goodness it was in that order, but no worries. We're there. Everybody have an awesome Saturday. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow. Have a great weekend. All right.